Will all the members of the council as well as the public please stand and remain standing until the Pledge of Allegiance, and also a tribute led by Council Lady Langster for Miss Baker. We'll have prayer by the Reverend Keika Frischke Warren, a friend of Vice Mayor Dan Neighbors.
And ask your blessings upon their work. As they consider important issues for Nashville, maybe they speak with soft voices so that they may hear each other's words. Open their ears so that they may truly hear one another. Guide their hearts and minds that they may discern your will for this time and this place. We ask your special blessings, O God, on our sister Diane, as she is traveling through a time of grief in her family. May she feel surrounded by your love and uplifted by your spirit. We pray for Audrey Baker, wife of Councilman Baker, who is in the hospital, and we pray your presence and healing mercy may be with her. And, oh God, we pray for our Councilman Eric Crafton and his family in Japan. We pray for all of our brothers and sisters who are in crisis and are reaching out to experience your presence. May they feel your peace, and may they find recovery in their homeland. You are the God of mercy, and we are the recipients of your grace. May we offer grace to our brothers and sisters, and indeed to one another in this room, as we seek to do your will and walk in your way. Amen. This to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Got a tribute from Council Lady. Would you please stand, please?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, as the minister said, Audrey Baker is in St. Thomas Hospital, and she is really a strong fighter. We all know her. We all have seen her strength. Can we, for a moment, with Speaker Pro Tem's permission, just close our eyes and whisper a short prayer on her behalf? Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Council. Council Lady Langster. Without objection, we will suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of those members present during the course of the meeting. Is there a motion for the adoption of the minutes of the meeting? If there's no objection, the minutes of the meeting will stand approved as written. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor? Thank you. At this time, we want to recognize Councilman Ronnie Stein, who has a, wait a minute, hold on.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I just rise for a special introduction. It is my honor this year to be part of Leadership Donaldson Hermitage, and some of my classmates are actually here tonight to see how we do business, and they're in the back. And if you all would stand up. Stand up. These folks are all terrific folks and are doing great things in Donaldson Hermitage, and I am proud to be associated with them. Even Mr. McDonald. We're glad you all are here.
Also, we have a resolution by Councilman Jerry Maynard.
I'd like to invite all council persons and sponsors for the resolution honoring Chair Lady of our Metropolitan Nashville Board of Education, Gracie Porter. It is indeed my honor to be here along with our fellow council persons to honor Gracie Porter, who is a friend to many of us, for her great leadership. She was a teacher, principal. She lives in East Nashville, and she's been a strong leader and a strong advocate for education and high performance and excellence for all students. Whereas members of the school board are elected to sit in trust for their diverse communities, and in the capacity are charged with meeting the community's expectations and aspirations for the public education of their children. And whereas on September 14, 2010, Gracie Porter was named chair of the Metropolitan Nashville Board of Education, becoming the first African-American woman to hold that position. And whereas she has been a member of the board since 2006, serving in several local, state, and national positions, such as Charter Schools Board Liaison, Insurance Trust, Sick Leave Bank, Pencil Foundation Board, Tennessee School Boards Association, Board of Directors, TSBA Level 3 Boardmanship recipient, National School Boards Association representative, and recently elected to the steering committee of the NSBA's Council of Urban Boards of Education. And whereas she has been instrumental in organizations such as the Margaret Maddox YMCA, Leadership Nashville, Friends of East Park, and 100 Black Women. She is truly a leader in our community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, Section 1, the Metropolitan Council hereby goes on record as recognizing and congratulating Gracie Porter on being named chairman of the Metropolitan Nashville Board of Education. Section 2, the Metropolitan Council Office is directed to prepare a copy of this resolution to be presented to the newly named chair lady, Gracie Porter. Well, that's all relative. Section 3, the resolution shall take effect from and after its adoption, the welfare of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County requiring it. Sponsored by Councilman Maynard, Jameson, Cole, Berry, Moore, Page, Lalone, Gilmore, Wilhoit, Evans, and Bennett. I want to say congratulations and would love to hear from you. Council, can we give her a round of applause for her great service in honoring her and her family? Would you like to have words?
Oh, wow. For a minute there, I didn't know who he was speaking of. Maya Angelou said, "To the world, you may only be one person, but to one person, you may be the world." This is my philosophy, and I try to live that each day. To the Speaker Pro Tem and to the council members here tonight, in the absence of the Honorable Vice Mayor Diane Neighbors, to other elected officials present tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored, moved, and thrilled to accept the recognition bestowed upon me, of which I accept on behalf of all women who have worked so hard and tirelessly. I can't think of any other group as you to be honored with such distinction. My goal as a school board member when elected in 2006 was to collaborate in a positive way with the Metro Council to seek ways to move our school district forward. I am proud to say we have and continue to do just that. And for that, I say thank you to all of you. I share this recognition tonight with my husband, James Porter, our two sons, Jacques Antonio Porter, who is with us tonight, and a Metro teacher, both are Metro teachers, and Marlon Roosevelt Porter, who also works in the area of youth services, and to our two granddaughters, Ashley Ariana Porter, a student in Texas, an honor student that I might say, public education, and Kaya Jeanette Porter, a third grader at Hull Jackson Montessori, who continues to give me the support, love, and time that enables me to serve as school board member and chairperson.
In accepting this honor, I am delighted to acknowledge my board colleagues who made it possible for me to serve in this capacity, and to my dear friends who continues to support me, to all of the members of this council and my good friends in this august body. I thank you for this honor, and may God bless each of you. It's the heart that counts. It's the heart that counts.
There is a proposed rule change to Rule 31 that is on your desk, and that will be voted on at the next meeting. There's also a proposed amendment to Rule number 12, sponsored by Eric Crafton, Councilman Crafton. Okay, hang on. You on?
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. We discussed this in committee. I guess we'll do a committee report, but it was supposed to be deferred.
Committee report, Councilman Birch.
Thank you. Rules and Confirmations voted to defer one meeting, 7-4-0 against.
Move to defer one meeting.
Second.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed.
Speaker.
Okay, we got, let me find you here. Councilman Gatto.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I rise to request a point of personal privilege, very brief.
Just a minute's off.
Okay. Inadvertently, previously, His Honor, Willie McDonald, was not duly recognized as the mayor of Donaldson, and I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that he is the mayor of Donaldson. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you, Councilman Gatto. Okay, we'll now go with the bills on first reading. Is that right? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. We got two public hearing bills that we need to hear, and those bills will be, where is it? It's on this page up here. Okay. Okay. We have a public hearing, the resolution RS 2011-1546, Duvall, Coleman, and Wilhort, and we will need a committee report. Duvall, could you say it? Coleman? Councilman Coleman?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Please proceed with the public hearing.
Okay. Can I see the hands of all in favor of the resolution 2011-1546? Are there any opposed to 1546? Any opposition? Would anyone like to speak that supports 1546? Yeah, the caption is exempt Snapstone restaurant located at 5385 Mountain View Road from the minimum distance requirement for obtaining a beer permit. Are there any opposition? And if there are none, I declare the public meeting closed, hearing closed. Councilman Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Against that background, I move for passage.
Can I have a committee report? That one's approved. That's approved, okay. The next is resolution 2. Okay, he did. You move for approval, I'm sorry. All in favor of passage 1546, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? 1546 is passed. The next one is public hearing resolution 2011-1557. Councilman Jameson.
You know how that is.
Okay. The caption is exempts number 308 located at 407 Gallatin Avenue from the minimum distance requirement for obtaining a beer permit. Councilman Jameson. Councilman Jameson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. It was referred to the Public Safety Committee, so I request the committee report.
Committee report. Director Foster. Where is it? There it is. Councilman Foster.
Public Safety voted to approve 4 for and 0 against.
And now I would move to open the public hearing.
Okay, all in favor of Bill 1557, which is by Jameson. Is there, let me see the hands, please. All in favor? Are there any against 1557? Seeing none, are there anyone that wishes to speak on this bill? If not, we declare 1557 closed. Councilman Jameson.
Thank you. Would move approval.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? 1557 is adopted. Now we come to bills on resolutions. Resolution 2011-1534 removes the members of the Metropolitan Board of Fair Commissioners, Crafton. Councilman Crafton.
Thank you.
Okay, just a minute. Committee report, Councilman Birch. Councilman Birch.
Thank you. Rules and confirmations voted to approve 4-4-3 against.
Councilman Crafton.
Thank you. I would ask for approval of this, and I'm going to state a few reasons why. First of all, I want to say that this is not an attempt to be mean-spirited or disparage anybody. But basically what it is, it's an acknowledgement of the fact that first and foremost, the same Fair Board, which we're voting to remove tonight, already voted to remove itself in June. And they never rescinded that action. So they're on record saying that they should be removed, and they removed themselves. That was their wish. They've never changed that. Okay, so that tells me that either they're tired of doing it or they don't think that the board is necessary. But in my mind, when we have just passed a comprehensive master plan that's to be looked at and implemented, to me, we need to get fresh sets of eyes in there looking at this plan, figuring out ways to make it successful. We've got a guy, Mr. Chafin, that has thrown his name in the ring to be on the Fair Board. He was a Fair Board commissioner before when it was successful. That's the kind of people we need on the Fair Board who believe in it and want to see it be successful. And you know, we gave the Fair Board ample time. In fact, I withdrew my bill once to give them a chance just to come in and talk to us without a bill hanging over their head, just so we could ask them, look them in the eye and say, hey, do you believe that the fairgrounds is viable? Do you think you could make it work? Are you committed to making it work? And all the functions that are currently there. And they chose to not come, even though the council asked them to requested their coming to that. And so to me, that shows a lack of disrespect to this body when we ask them to come and just talk to us and tell us what their thoughts are, and they won't do it. So that's two things that are very important to me. It should be noted that by this bungling situation that's gone on over the past 3 years, we've basically taken an asset that has given us a $40 to $60 million a year economic impact, and we've basically frittered that away because we're not committed to making it work. We've cast clouds of doubt and dispersion over whether it's even going to be open, so we can't get the leases, can't get the long-term leases, commitments to be there, which has driven the revenue down, which, oh, by the way, now the fairgrounds doesn't look profitable anymore. Well, it's never taken one penny of taxpayer dollars, and yeah, we're dwindling down the reserve funds because it's not being managed properly. I mean, we don't have any payments on the property that was given to us. We got the venue already there. The buildings are already built. You telling me we can't at least break even on something that we don't owe anything on? I tell you what, give me the fairgrounds free and clear, and I'll guarantee you I can make some money out of it and return some money back to the city. So you got a $60 million $60 million a year in economic impact that's costing the city zero. And yeah, I'm going to bring up the convention center. We're paying $1 billion for a convention center and hotel that, by estimates, if everything goes pretty well, might make $120 million a year economic impact. So it's $1 billion for $120 million economic impact and zero for $60 million economic year impact. So the zero cost $60 million a year economic impact asset to the city, in my opinion, deserves to be given a fair shot and a chance. And if it needs a little help for development, let's give it to them. I mean, we gave $16 million to the Skirmerhorn. That's great. It's a world-renowned facility, and rightly so. We need that. We're the music capital of this country. I was for that. We give a $8 million a year subsidy to the arena. You know, we give $15 or $20 million a year out of water and sewer money. Not quite that much. Maybe it's $8 million or something like that, but a good deal. $4 million a year. I'm sorry, it's $4 million a year to the Titan Stadium. Okay, that's fine. The citizens voted for that. Great, great for the city. But let's don't say the fairgrounds is not successful when we let it get to where it's falling down, dilapidated, invest nothing in an asset that drives more revenue than most of the things in this city. And if we don't use that, then we got to say, okay, how are you going to replace the $60 million a year in economic impact? Well, the only way to do that is to find another business, or you raise taxes. That's your choices. So my choice is to do a little investment in this facility and let it be run with a new board who's committed to its success, and I hope you'll vote for this.
Councilman Coleman, did you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Go ahead.
Got to start that time over there. Just kind of want to make a comment or two on the last speaker's position. I want to go on record by saying I was one of the members of this body that voted for the convention center, as well as the fairground, as well as the racetrack. And I did so based on what I call sound judgment. I think that the previous speaker has good intention, but this is no way that we go about doing business. There are some functions are of executive nature. We are a legislative body. The function that the previous speaker spoke of is an executive function. That belongs with the executive authority. The Fair Board Commission is an appointment by the mayor with confirmation by the council. I think we overstep our boundaries tremendously when we want to resolve the board altogether. Now, for the gentleman that would like to be on the Fair Board, I would definitely support you or anyone else that has the expertise to help our city develop. That's a good thing. I submit to you that you file your application or your resume with the council member in your district, send it up the regular chain of authority the way we do when we want appointments to come before the administrative body. But to resolve the Fair Board is not the answer. I think we've gone over the scope of our authority. I think that what we need to do is concentrate on the members. If, in fact, they're rotating off and they need replacement, if they're tired, they can't do it, or their volunteer spirit is not there, I agree with the councilman that spoke prior to me, then that person needs to rotate off. But to say you're going to resolve a board because it doesn't give you the results that you're looking for, that's not it. That's not it at all. And we have to be very careful when we become a body that start making these edicts and mandates and falsely leading people. Yes, we had some issues. Yes, we dealt with them. It was a very contentious time, but this council came together and dealt with them. Now to resolve a board because it didn't give the expectation that you personally feel is the wrong way to do this. And I am asking you to vote no, not based on whether you like the fairground, not based on whether you want to keep racing. That's a done deal. We've already talked about that. And about the convention center, we've already talked about that. We need to tie all these things together purposely to get a point across. I think they get it. I think they really get it. I think we have some fine members on the board. I think they're committed, and if they have made mistakes, I'm sure they're willing to work back through them. This is not the right move, and I'm asking you to vote no, not based on any other thing other than this is not the proper way that we should execute our duties in the City Council. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, and I'm asking your no vote on this issue.
Thank you. Council Lady Wilhoit.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. And I just stand just to address one of the points that the fine gentleman from the 23rd District, 22nd District has provided. One of the reasons that the council member has mentioned was in reference to the school board, the Fairgrounds Board not coming to address the legislation that had come before the Rules and Confirmation Committee. The council member 26th District, who is the chair of the Rules and Confirmation Committee, I have to say that I was in that meeting where they were asked to come and address the legislation, and the council member Crafton was so kind and generous to defer his legislation. They were going to come and address it, so he deferred his legislation for them to come and address the legislation. They were not asked. Now, I'm not aware of them being asked to come. I talked to Councilman Crafton in reference to it and said that I wanted to make sure that the chair of the Rules and Confirmation did go ahead and make that happen, because the committee members had asked for it, and I do believe that there's possibly that the chairperson just did not get the opportunity. I don't want to say he dropped the ball. He's not here. I guess I could throw him under the bus, but I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying that I do believe that they did not get the information. The board members did not get the information to come and address it. And I did speak with Councilman Crafton in regards to it, and he was still patiently waiting. So to come into the defense of the members of the board of the fairgrounds, I'm of the strong opinion that they did not get the request to come in and address this legislation after it had been decided by the Rules and Confirmation Committee, and with Councilman Crafton deferring his legislation. So with that being said, the councilman has provided 2 reasons, but I want to just, 3 reasons. I just want to remove one of them, because I do believe that that was one of the reasons that's been unfairly played against the members of the Fairgrounds Committee. And I yield the remaining of my time to Councilman Crafton. Thank you.
Thank you. It was my understanding that they had received a letter, and in fact, I withdrew the legislation. I didn't defer it, I just withdrew it to give them a chance. If that's the feeling, that they didn't get a chance to come in and talk to us, hey, I'm fine for them to come in and talk to us. I don't mind deferring it for a meeting and letting them come in. But I will say this, the standard that we ought to accept for the performance of a board is excellence and results. If government is not on the cutting edge of performance and policy, then we're taking up too much space. We're getting in the way of folks. It's time for us to get out on the edge and be innovative and successful and not accepting somebody showing up and giving it the good old college try. You don't get paid for good old college tries in the real world. You get paid for results. So I'll defer it. If anybody wants to second the motion, I'll defer it one meeting.
Wait a minute. Councilman Foster? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we got a motion to defer. Is there a second? Second. And now I ask for discussion on the deferral. There are discussions. Any discussion? Okay, Council Lady Wilhoit.
Yes, thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. I want to just be a part of the resolution and not the problem. I am chair of the Codes and Fairgrounds Committee, okay? Thank you. I'm chair of that committee. And I realized that this piece of legislation had to come before the Rules Confirmation Committee because that's where the person has to, that's where the members has to be confirmed. I am willing, Councilman Crafton, to ask for the board members to come forward and do it formally, and we will make a date so they can address this legislation and your concerns and any of the concerns of the council members. I want to be a part of the solution, not the problem, and I can take the lead on this if you don't mind, and if Councilman Crafton so desires. I'm willing to do that. Okay, very good. So I just want to let that be known. Thank you.
Councilman Gatto. Got a motion on the floor, previous question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Previous question prevails. Now we're on the motion to defer.
Second.
Got
Aye.
a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? No. Motion passed. If we're gonna do okay, that bill is preferred. The next one is resolution, thank you, 2011-558, Council Lady Page. This bill is to approve an application for the Justice and Mental Health Collaboration Program grant from the United States Department of Justice to the state trial courts for the Community Corrections Program to assist felony offenders with mental health problems. Councilman Lady Page, Council Lady Page.
Budget and Finance approved, 9 in favor, 0 against. I move approval.
I have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? This motion is passed. Next resolution is 2011-1559, Councilman Maynard. Approves of amendment to grant from the Friends of Centennial Park and the Parthenon to the Metro Nashville Park and Recreation Department to provide funding for one employee's salary. Councilman Maynard. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Committee reports, please.
Committee reports would be Budget and Finance, Page.
Budget and Finance approved, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Maynard.
Thank you. Parks Library approved, 5-4-0 against. And with that, I move for approval.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say by aye. Aye. Opposed? 1559 is approved. Resolution number 1560. Councilman Maynard approves a grant from the Vanderbilt Department of Pediatrics to the Metro Nashville Parks and Recreation Department to collaborate on the Growing Right On to Wellness Project to stop obesity in preschoolers before it becomes problematic. Councilman Maynard.
Thank you. Committee report, please.
Budget and Finance approved, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Parks and Library approved, 5-4-0 against. With that, I move for approval with a thunderous response.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 1561 is approved. Resolution 1562, Jameson, Maynard.
61.
I'm sorry, it's 61. Holloman, Maynard, approved amendment to a grant from the Tennessee Stormwater Association to the Metro Nashville Park and Recreation Department to assist with the cost of implementing green technologies at the McCabe Park Community Center. Councilman Holloman. Say it loud. Where is it? Councilman Holloman.
Committee reports, please.
Councilman Page.
Budget and Finance approved, 10 in favor, 0 against.
And Councilman Maynard.
Parks approved, 5-4-0 against.
Councilman Holloman.
And I would just like to say that this is an exciting project for the Sylvan Park area, and particularly exciting that we now have the funds to move ahead with green elements in this building. That's a real positive for this development, and with that, I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
1561 is approved. 1562 approves an application for the Kirkpatrick Park Summer Enrichment Program grant from the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency to the Metro Parks and Recreation Department to offer children enrichment activities during the summer. Councilman Jameson.
We approve it.
Thank you, Councilman Hunt. I defer my time to Councilman Maynard.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Committee report, please.
Committee report, Council Lady Page.
Budget and Finance voted 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Maynard.
Parks approved, 5-4-0 against. With that, I move for approval.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor of 1562, say aye, please. Aye. Opposed? 1562 is adopted. Resolution 1563 approves an application for a fire prevention and safety grant for the United States Department of Homeland Security to the Nashville Fire Department. Council Lady Page.
Thank you. Budget and Finance approved, 10 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
Got a motion. Public Safety, got a Foster. Councilman Foster.
Public Safety voted to approve with a vote of 4-4 and 0 against.
Councilman Page, Council Lady Page.
Budget and Finance approved, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Move approval?
I move approval.
Yeah, okay. Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
1564 is adopted. 63 is adopted. Resolution 1564, Council Lady Page, approves an application for a grant from the Memorial Foundation to the Davidson County Sheriff's Office to build outdoor shelters for animals and work shed to teach offenders vocational skills. Council Lady Page.
Committee reports, please.
Budget and Public Safety.
Public Safety voted to approve 4-4, 0 against.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance approved, 10 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
Second.
Motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, 1564? Aye. Opposed? 1564 is adopted. Resolution 1565 accepts a grant from the State Department of Labor and Workforce Development to the Nashville Career Advancement Center to provide skills shortage training to associate builders and contractors, Inc. Council Lady Page.
Committee reports, please.
Finance, Personnel?
Personnel
Dr.
voted to approve, 6-4, 0 against.
Budget and Finance?
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 10 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor of 1565? Aye. Opposed? 1565 is adopted. Resolution 1566 approves a second amendment to a grant from the United States Department of Protection agencies to Metro Board of Health to achieve established ambient air standards and protect human health. Councilman Falcom.
Point of order, is this actually Budget and Finance to move? Okay, committee reports.
Councilor Page.
Budget and Finance approved, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Falcom.
Health and Hospitals voted to approve, 5-4, 0 against, and I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 1566 is adopted. Resolution 1567 approve a third amendment and previous year's federal grant to the Metro Board of Health to provide financial assistance to address AIDS epidemic. Councilman Falcom.
Committee reports.
Committee reports are Health and Hospitals, Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospitals voted to approve, 5-4, 0 against. I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 1567 is adopted. 1568 approves a second amendment to a grant from the United States Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Board of Health to enhance access to community-based care for low-income individuals and families with HIV disease. Councilman Falcom.
Committee reports.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 10 in favor, 0 against.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospitals voted to approve, 5-4, 0 against, and I move approval.
Got a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 1568 is adopted. Resolution 1569 approves amendment to a grant from the United States Department of Health and Human Services to the Metro Board of Health and Healthy Start initiatives. Councilor Page.
Committee reports, please.
Committee Health and Hospital.
Health and Hospitals voted to approve, 5-4, 0 against.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 10 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
Got a motion and second. All in favor? All opposed? The bill is adopted. Resolution 1571. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. 1574 approves amendment to a contract between the Metro Board of Health and Vanderbilt University for the health department's participation in tuberculosis trial consortium project. Councilman Falcom.
Committee reports.
Council Lady Page, Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance approved, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospital vote approved, 5-4, 0 against. I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. Bill 1570 is adopted. Resolution 1571 approves a contract between the Metro Board of Health and Meharry Medical College for the Historical Black Community College and University Wellness Project. Councilman Falcom.
Committee reports.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, and 11 in favor, 0 against.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospitals vote approved, 5-4, 0 against. I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? 1571 is adopted. Resolution 1572, Council Lady Page, approves the renewal of a contract between Metro Board of Health and the United Way of Metro Nashville for services provided to individuals affected and infected with HIV/AIDS. Council Lady Page.
Committee reports, please.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospitals voted to approve, 5-4, 0 against.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 11 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? 1572 is adopted. Resolution 1573 approves the third amendment to a contract between the Metro Board of Health and United Way of Nashville for services under the Minority AIDS Initiative. Councilman Forkham.
Committee reports.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospitals vote approved, 5-4, 0 against. I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? 1573 is adopted. Resolution 1574 approves a contract between the Metro Health and the Metro Board of Health and United Way of Metro Nashville to improve and enhance the IT infrastructure capacity to collect and report data. Councilman Forkham.
Committee reports.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospitals voted to approve, 6-4, 0 against. I move approval.
Got a motion and second. All in favor? Opposed? 1574 is adopted. Resolution 1575 approves a ninth amendment to a contract between the Metro Board of Health and the United Way of Metro Nashville for services provided to minority individuals infected with or affected by HIV/AIDS. Councilman Forkham.
Committee reports.
Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance approved, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Health and Hospitals.
Health and Hospitals voted approved, 6-4, 0 against. I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution 1575 is adopted. Resolution 1576 approves a business associate agreement between the Metro Board of Health and Meharry College to prevent the use and disclosure of protected health information. Councilman Forkham.
Health and Hospitals voted approved, 6-4, 0 against. I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution 1577 approves an application for a hazard mitigation grant from the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency and authorizes the Department of Water and Sewer Services to acquire 63 homes within various floodway and floodplains in Davidson County. Councilman McGuire.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Committee reports.
Council Lady Page.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Hodge, Public Works.
Public Works approved, 3 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman McGuire.
Thank you. Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 1577 is adopted. Resolution 1578, Matthews Hodge approves an amendment to an agreement between the Metro government and the state regarding the maintenance of closed solid waste facilities. Councilman Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee reports, please.
Public Works, Councilman Hodge.
Public Works approved, 3 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Matthews.
Had Budget and Finance.
Not on here. Okay. Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance approved, 11 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Matthews.
Thank you. I would like to move approval with a brief question for Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Cooper, could you just explain the implications of this particular piece of legislation on the current solid waste facilities in the county?
Here, John.
It really has no impact on the existing facilities. State law allows us to either put up a performance bond or letter of credit to guarantee that we'll cover any environmental damage, or enter into a contract with the state where we guarantee that we will pay these amounts in the event of any environmental damage. So in fact, for the most part, this is reducing Metro's responsibility, financial responsibility for the maintenance of these closed facilities. So it has no impact on the fact that they are closed and will remain closed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cooper, and I'll renew my motion for approval.
Got a motion and a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 1578 is adopted. Resolution 1579, classified public roads in Davidson County, Tennessee. Councilman Hodge.
Public Works approved, 3 in favor, 0 against. I move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Excuse me. Point of order?
Oh, I'm sorry. You got a question, Mr. Wilhoit?
Yes, please.
Yes. Is it possible that we can get a list of these roads that has been classified under this legislation? I didn't see it in the analysis. That's why I was asking for it.
For you.
There is a list. You can get it for me?
Yes, I believe it's attached to the legislation. We can get that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 1579 is adopted. Resolution 1580, Council Lady Page authorizes the Metro Department of Law to compromise and settle the lawsuit brought by Gary Bernard Sanders against the Metro government for the amount of $22,500. Council Lady Page.
Budget and Finance voted to approve, 11 in favor, 0 against, and I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? 1580 is adopted. Resolution 1581 authorizes the construction, installation, and maintenance of an area encroachment at 420 Broadway for the second fiddle. Councilman Jameson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Committee report.
Public Works.
Public Works approved, 3 in favor, 0 against.
And Planning and Zoning. Councilman Todd.
Planning and Zoning approved, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Jameson.
Thank you. Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
1581 is approved. Now we go to bills on second reading. First reading, I'm sorry. Can we take all the bills on second reading? First reading. All at once. Are there any bills we need to pull off for first reading?
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we move to bills on second reading. This bill number 2010-822, Hollins, Crafton, and Craddock's, amends the Metro Code to prohibit persons serving on Metro government boards or commission from engaging in lobbying activities. Councilman Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Committee reports.
Councilman Birch.
Thank you. Rules and confirmations voted to defer to the second meeting in May, 7-4, against.
Councilman Holland.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. Move to defer the second meeting in May.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor for deferment? Aye. Opposed? The bill 822 is deferred. Bill number 836 amends the Metro Code to exempt certain newer vehicles from the emission testing requirement. Councilman Ryman.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Committee report.
Okay, Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance voted to defer indefinitely, 11-0.
Health and Hospital,
Health and Hospitals, at the request of sponsor, voted for an indefinite deferral, 6-4-0 against.
okay, all in favor?
No, he's got to make the motion.
You got to make a motion, Councilman Ryman.
I move for indefinite deferral.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor of indefinite deferral, please say aye. Oppose? Okay. The bill is deferred. Bill number 855 amends the Metro Code to prohibit former members of the Metro Council from being employed by the Metro government in the non-classified service for 2 years after leaving office, and requesting the Civil Service Commission to amend the Civil Service rules to include such a provision regarding employment and the classified service. Councilman Crafton.
Committee report.
Personnel, Councilman Tawler.
Personnel voted to defer by rule, 6-4-0 against.
Councilman Crafton.
I move to defer indefinitely.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to defer Bill 855. All in favor? Aye. Oppose? 855 is deferred. Bill 860 adopts a proposed plan of service for the extension of the boundaries of the Urban Services District to include certain properties located along Highway 70 South. Councilman Mitchell.
Committee report.
Planning and Zoning, Councilman Todd.
Planning and Zoning approved, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Planning Commission? No.
Move for approval.
You got a motion and a second. All in favor? Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, we just had an annexation. And John, can you refresh my memory on the process, notification of that's required or not required, or what the procedure is?
By state law, it has to be advertised in newspaper, general circulation. Is it twice, Marilyn, or is it just one time? And a copy of the plan of services has to be made available in the area. I know a plan was at the Bellevue Library and the Bellevue Community Center.
Okay, and then we'll have a public hearing?
The public hearing will be on third reading at the next meeting. It's been advertised for the next meeting.
But no notification of either property owners or adjacent property owners within any reasonable distance?
No, sir. State law just requires the publication.
Okay. Could I ask the councilman what areas are covered by this annexation?
Just the five, the Kroger on 70, and then Bellevue Properties LP, they own 3 of the 5 parcels, and the Commerce Union Bank at 7089 Highway 70 South. And this came from the owners of the properties asking for this.
Bank of America asked for this?
No, the Kroger and Bellevue Properties LP.
But Bank of America did not ask for it?
Well, across the street, when we annexed the parcels across the street, did you ask for that to be annexed as one of the owners of that?
I thought I was asking the questions.
We've got a point of order, Ms. Wilhoit.
Yes.
Should not the council person asking the question be addressing their concerns to the head of the chair here of this committee meeting?
I'm happy to do so. So,
okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, could we ask if Bank of America asked for this property to be annexed?
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell.
No, they did not.
Is the storage, Mr. Chair, is the storage center located behind Kroger's included in this annexation?
Would you like to answer that, Councilman Mitchell?
No, it is not.
will there be a community meeting in Bellevue with the adjacent neighbors before this public hearing?
I will advertise to all of the citizens of the area about this public hearing before the council, before it is brought up. And is the reason, I remember the area across the street from that Councilman Crafton were safety issues and whatnot. What's the reason for this zoning, Mr. Chair? Property owner requested it, so they want to pay additional taxes to Metro government.
Point of order. Point of order. Excuse me.
Yes.
That I think that we have been asked to come to the committee meetings to ask these questions. There was an opportunity to have these questions answered in the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. I don't mean no offense. I know that we have to ask questions, but can we not continue this at some other time? Point of order, could you ask at the committee meeting some of the extensive questions? That's my point of order.
In response to
okay, personal privilege.
Hey, look.
Yeah.
We got to do this respectfully. We'll try to get them answered, but we need to do it respectfully.
Absolutely.
In response to Councilman Mitchell's statement about the bank, if I remember where the bank is located, the property behind the bank would have been in the Kroger complex. Were it to be included, the bank legally would have to be included because you have to have contiguous boundaries. So you couldn't have a hole around around that bank property. So that's the reason that the area was contiguous.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I was at the committee, but it was on the consent agenda, and it was approving the plan of service, so I didn't know that that was the appropriate time to ask any questions. I just had not heard anything about this and thought this was the appropriate time to see if there was going to be opportunities for the affected adjoining property owners and affected neighborhood to hear. Final question. Is the reason that the shopping center possibly asked for the annexation is for a liquor store, or is it true they just want to pay higher property taxes? Couldn't they make a donation to Metro?
Well, no, I'll answer that question. Well, I'm unsure of that since the properties across the street, in which one of the properties, as I said, you're partial owner of the properties across the street that were annexed into the Urban Services District earlier this year. I don't know. I think a liquor store has been, an LLC has been created to create a liquor store across in that area that was annexed earlier, but I don't know of one currently that's going to be in this area yet. I don't know if an LLC has been created.
Thank you.
And okay, I just wanted to add one. There is not one residence that is being included in this annexation, unlike the annexation before. So not one homeowner will pay additional property taxes in Davidson County because of this annexation.
Councilman Craddock, you have a comment. Councilman Crafton.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. I just wanted to state it for the record that Mr. Tiger did come and talk to me about the proposal to change general to urban services that affected his place, and while he had reservations and knew it would adversely affect him personally, he did support it because he felt like it would be better for the overall community. So I just want to note it for the record that he supported the community and did what he thought was best, even though it might have adversely impacted him. So just wanted that cleared up.
There's no more discussions. We can take the vote.
Are there others?
I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay. Okay, Bill 860 is approved. I should have taken 860 and 861 together because we got a bill exactly like the ones coming up. It's extend the boundaries of the urban service district within the jurisdiction of the metro government to include certain properties located along Highway 70. You want to?
Committee report.
Committee report, planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning approved, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Council Mitchell.
Move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
He's got discussion.
Oh, got a discussion. Sorry. Golly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like, Mr. Chair, if I could ask you to ask the councilman affected, is residential property adjacent to the Kroger Shopping Center?
You want to answer that?
Yes, it is. And it's also directly across the street from the property in which you are a partial owner that was annexed earlier this year.
I would like to advertise the property that I am a small minority owner in, but I did abstain on that vote as I was advised to by the council staff. So I just think that anytime we have annexation, could I ask Councilman Coleman, when he had annexation in his district, what the policy and procedures that he followed, a blueprint?
Was it residents?
Mr. Chair, could I address a question to Councilman Coleman as to how he handled annexation in his district?
Yes, Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. But I think the question is whether or not we had community meetings, and yes, we did. We had quite a few. And to answer your question, Councilman Mitchell, some were residential and some were commercial. But whenever you're affecting property tax, it's always a serious question for the neighbors because it's a year after before the services kick in, and sometimes that brings some hardship with residents. So we had a series of meetings, and didn't everybody agree with me, but we did work through it.
Thank you. That's all my questions.
Yeah, I just want to make it very clear. The impact on Metro, I think it was zero cost to Metro to bring this in. So it's going to be additional tax revenue to the city. And by all means, I didn't seek out to do this annexation. The property owners across the street, after the previous annexation, that we know one of the partial owners of that, contacted me and asked me, well, why wasn't our property part of this annexation? I frankly told him, I said, well, I'm not in the habit of raising people's taxes for no reason. And they said, well, we would like to be annexed as part of the urban services district, just as the property across the street. So I went ahead with it. Mr. Tigard wants to allude to a liquor store. Well, he's already opened Pandora's box up on that property he's partial owner across the street on. The liquor store in that area is already occurring because of the previous annexation. There's not a liquor store LLC Incorporated already happening on the other side yet. There may be, but I think Pandora's box has already been opened up on his side of the street previously. So I just wanted to make that very clear. Thank you so much, and I move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Bill 861 is adopted. The next bill is 862, amends Metro Code relative to the eligibility requirements for the receipt of economic and economic development incentive grants. Council Lady Gilmore.
Committee reports, please.
Finance, Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance, at the request of the sponsor, deferred 11-0.
Council Lady Gilmore.
Yes, I would like to ask for a deferral.
Got a motion and a second to defer Bill 862 for one meeting. All in favor? Opposed? 862 is deferred. Bill 863 amends the Metro codes pertaining to the location restrictions for the sale of liquor by artisan distilleries. Council Lady Gilmore.
Yes, thank you. Committee reports, please.
To Public Safety.
Councilman Foster.
Councilor Foster.
Public Safety voted to approve 4-4 and 0 against.
Council Lady Gilmore.
Move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Bill, all opposed? Bill 863 is approved. Now we come to bills on third readings. First one is 2007-71. Approves the disposition of certain parcels of surplus property located at 217 South 10th Street by the Director of Public Property Administration, Councilman Jameson.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. This has been approved by all committees, but as the result of some recent developments over the last 2 weeks or so, I'm going to ask if we could defer this one meeting.
We have a motion and a second for deferment for one meeting for Bill 71. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Bill 71 is deferred for one indefinitely.
No, one meeting.
For one meeting. They got Bill 2010-754 amends the Metro Code pertaining to cosmetology and barber shops as a home occupation accessory use in residential districts. Councilman Garrett.
Tim. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. At the request of the sponsor, I'm sorry, committee report?
Committee report. Planning and zoning. Councilman Todd.
Planning and zoning deferred by rule.
Planning Commission, you approve 8 and 2. Councilman Garrett.
Thank you, sir. At the request of the Councilman Stanley, he'd asked this to be deferred indefinitely.
Got a motion and second to be 734 to be deferred indefinitely.
Deferred by rule binding on this floor.
All in favor?
Point of order. Deferred by rule is binding on
Yes,
the floor.
correct. A deferral is technically one meeting, but since the sponsor had requested an indefinite deferral, I think that motion was before you. But if you're invoking that rule, yes, technically it would be a one meeting deferral.
Just making sure.
All in favor? Opposed?
So it's a one meeting deferral by rule.
It's one meeting deferral by rule.
Just don't have.
Bill 827, Hollins, amends the Metro Code by deleting the definition of cash advance, check cashing, pawn shops, title loan, and deleting search uses from the land use table and the land use development standards. Councilman Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Committee report.
Planning and zoning, Councilman Todd.
At the request of the sponsor, the committee deferred it indefinitely.
We have a report from planning.
Yeah, just go back to the
Planning Commission. Councilman Hollins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Move to defer indefinitely.
Got a motion and a second to defer the Bill 827 indefinite. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 827 is deferred indefinitely. Yeah, okay. Bill 838,
Collins going to handle this one.
Yeah. Bill 838 amends the Metro Code to prohibit Metro government contractors from discriminating on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity through their employment practices. Are you taking this, Councilman Hollins?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Move to defer one meeting.
Point of order, Councilman.
Discussion. We've got
Discussion. Got a motion on the floor?
Discussion.
Here we go. Councilman Ryman.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I move that motion to the table.
Got a motion to move to the table. Got a discussion, Councilman Hollins.
Well, Mr. Ryman gets to speak first, and then Councilman Holland.
Okay. Councilman Ryman?
Well, thank you. I plan on not really speaking on this, but on the motion to defer. The reason I have moved that to the table, at the meeting that we had in February, I made a motion at the Budget and Finance Committee and also at the council meeting to defer this until the second meeting in June. And that motion was voted down. And the sponsors at that time of this bill said, we don't need to defer this. We need to go ahead and move on it. Now it seems like they've changed their mind. So that's the reason that I moved to defeat this deferral motion and go ahead and vote on this motion tonight.
Councilman Holland.
Councilman Hollins? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What'd you do with it?
No, it's not. Hit this button next to game.
Can we stop my clock?
Yeah. It's on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the maker of the motion, but if you recall what he just said, he said he wanted to defer to the second meeting in June to give the General Assembly time to take action. Well, since that time, kind of the pressure's off. The General Assembly has considered this measure at this time. But more importantly, you know, some of our colleagues are absent tonight because they're on spring break. Now, I asked many of them, could they still attend? They said no, they had long plans for spring break. And so I was put in a position of asking them to come back to a meeting while they're spending time with their family. I know what answer I would give if someone asked me if I was spending time with my family. So let's not disenfranchise the constituents of the 26th district, the 15th district, and various other districts around this county. Let's so vote no on the tabling motion.
Point of order. The 15th district is not being disenfranchised. The 15th district is here.
I make a correction. That would be the 14th.
So now we're taking a vote on the tabling motion.
Okay, well now we'll vote on the tabling motion.
Roll call vote.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote.
Did you get all them objections?
This vote is, go ahead.
No.
Now, wait a minute, I got to say this too. You want to vote yes?
Point of order.
Councilman Craddock has
Councilman Craddock, got a point of order?
Would you explain the vote?
Yes, if you want to defer, if you're in favor of deferring the bill, you would vote no on the tabling motion. If you want to vote tonight on the bill, you would vote yes on the tabling motion.
Madam Clerk, would you close the vote? Repeat the vote, please.
Ayes 13, noes 20, 1 abstention.
Motion fails.
Motion passes.
Fails.
I'm sorry, fails. Don't panic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Renew my motion to defer.
Got a motion to defer Bill 838. Is there a second? Second. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Roll call. Roll call.
Okay, we need a roll call vote.
How many objections you got?
Point of order. Did we ever call the previous question on the debate on the deferral motion?
Were there more lights? Were there still lights that lit up?
No lights.
There weren't any lights in the queue for those wanting to speak.
So did we
There
call
was no.
We didn't need to call the previous question because there was no one else that wanted to speak.
All right.
Madam Clerk, would you count the vote?
Ayes 20, noes 12, 1 abstention.
Motion passed.
It's Defer, motion to defer.
Motion is deferred. Okay. The next bill is Bill 842. 842 approves an amendment to a lease between the Metro government and Square Investment Holdings, LP, for the space in Washington Square building located at 222 2nd Avenue. Located at 222 2nd Avenue, Councilman Jamerson.
Having been approved by all committees, I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bill 842 is adopted. Next bill is 2011-843, Harrison amends the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by renaming a portion of Summit Avenue to West Summit Avenue. Councilman Harrison.
Testing, 1, 2. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe all committees are in, so I move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 843 is adopted. Bill 844, zone changes 0.17 acres from RS5 to MUN, zoning for properties located at 2733 and 2737 Herman Street. Councilman Langster.
Committee report, please.
Planning Commission, committee.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. The committee, there's a substitute ordinance here, and the committee approved that 5-4-0 against. And then on the ordinance as substituted, it was deferred by rule incorrectly. She actually had a letter, and we didn't see it. So I think she's going to move to suspend the rules, and but it should have been approved by the committee, but we just didn't see her letter. And we approved the substitute ordinance 5-4-0 against.
Council Lady Langster?
I respectfully request to have the council act as a whole, but could we not, could I give a couple of minutes to Councilman Gatto, please? The chair of chair of planning, please.
First, see if there's an objection to suspending the rules.
Do we have any objection of suspending the rules? Are there any objections?
Thank you.
Okay.
Move to approval if we could hear from Councilman Jim Gatto.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. This bill was actually approved at the Planning Commission. The original proposal, I believe, was for MUN, and that was disapproved, but the Planning Commission actually voted to approve an SP, and so the SP substitute was prepared. So what we have before us tonight now is an approved bill from the Planning Commission. So I would urge you to vote in favor of that. Mr. Cooper, do you have anything to add?
Yes, Ms. Langster will need to first move approval of the substitute, at which point it will be an approved bill.
At this time, I move to approve the substitute.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The substitute is approved.
Now she needs to move this.
Now I would like to move the bill as amended.
Got a motion and a second to move the bill as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 844 is adopted. Bill 846, zone changes 1.28 acres from CS to SP zoning for property located at 2724 Elm Hill Pike to permit hotel and restaurant uses. Councilman Claiborne.
Committee report, please.
Planning and zoning, Councilman Todd.
Planning and zoning approved 5-4-0 0 against.
Councilman Claiborne.
Mr. Speaker, there is an amendment that I would like to move.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Move and the amendment.
Got a motion and a second to move the amendment.
And move the bill as amended.
Wait a minute, let's get the vote on the amendment first.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All in favor? Opposed? The amendment is approved. Now we will move the bill as amended.
I move the bill as amended.
Is there a second? I got a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Bill 846 is approved. Bill 847, zone change 0.17 acres from R6 to ON zoning for property located at 1108 38th Avenue North. Council Lady Lancaster.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Committee reports, please.
Planning and zoning, Councilman Todd.
Planning and Zoning Committee approved 5-4, 0 against.
Council Lady Lancaster.
I move approval, but I'd like, was this not one of the bills that was also deferred?
No, the others were on the consent agenda, and they were approved.
Thanks for that clarification. Move approval, please.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Bill 847 is adopted. Bill 848, zone change. Changes 15.04 acres from CS to SP zoning for the property located at 2353 Gallatin Pike to permit an expansion to the existing auto sales facilities for auto sales, new and used, auto services, auto repair, car wash, private fuel storage, dispensing auto parts sales, and auto storage. Councilman Ryman.
What's this on?
848.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I move for approval.
Committee report, please.
Planning and Zoning approved 5-4, 0 against.
Councilman Ryman.
Move for approval.
Got a motion and second. All in favor, 848. Please say it. Opposed? 848 is adopted. Bill 849, zone changes 0.28 acres from CL to MUN zoning for properties located at 307 Wilburn Street. Councilman Harley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. All committees having reported, move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, 849? Opposed? 849 is adopted. Bill 850 changes 1.1 acre from IR to MUL zoning for property located at 2300 Charlotte Avenue. Council Lady Lancaster.
Committee reports, please.
Planning and zoning, Councilman Todd.
Planning and Zoning approved 5-4, 0 against.
Can we get the committee report from the previous bill as well, 849?
Yeah, Councilman Holland. Yeah, Planning and Zoning approved his bill 5-4, 0 against also.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Move for approval. Thank you.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Bill 850 is approved. Bill 851 changes 5.49 acres from AR2A to RS20 zoning for properties located at 5700 Cane Ridge Road. Councilman Coleman.
Committee report.
Referred to Planning and Zoning. Councilman Todd.
Planning and Zoning approved 5 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Coleman.
Move for passage.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 851 is adopted. Bill 2011-852 changes 3.9 acres from CS to MUN zoning for properties located at 77,000 Harper Road. Councilman Matthews.
Thank you. Committee report.
Planning and zoning, Councilman Todd.
Planning and zoning approved, 5-4-0 against.
Councilman Matthews.
I move approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? 852 is adopted. Bill 2011-853, Council Lady Moore. Changes 2.26 acres from R6 to SP zoning for property located at 24 Lincoln Street to permit an existing one-story brick structure to be used as 5 apartment units. Council Lady Moore.
Committee report, please.
Planning and zoning, Councilman Todd.
Planning and zoning approved, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Council Lady Moore.
I move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Bill 853 is adopted. Bill 854 changes 0.32 acres within the Greenland Neighborhood Conservation Overlay from RS5 to MUN zoning for properties located at 731 McFerrin Avenue. Councilman Hollins.
Committee report.
Planning and zoning, Councilman Todd.
Planning and zoning committee approved, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I want to move approval with a brief explanation. I want to let the immediate landowners know that we've made arrangements through the diligent work of Public Works. One of the nearby neighbors had a concern about anticipated increase in parking, and we're putting a no parking sign with permits in front of her house. And with that explanation, I renew my motion.
Got a motion? Is there a second? Got a motion and a second. All in favor, 854, say aye. Opposed? 854 is adopted. Bill 1582 opposes any state legislation that would remove or inhibit local government powers of self-governance. Councilman Maynard.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Committee report, please.
Councilman Atkins, Birch, I'm sorry.
Birch. Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. Rules and confirmation vote to defer 1 meeting, 7-4-0 against.
Councilman Maynard.
I'd like to move for deferral for 1 meeting, please.
Got a motion and a second to defer Bill 1582 for 1 meeting. Is there all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Bill 1582 is deferred. Bill 1583 requests Mayor Cardine and the Metro Public Library Board to take action to relocate Metro Government Archives to the Ben West Library and to house the Davidson County Museum in the Ben West Library. Councilman Crafton.
Thank you. Committee report.
Approved it.
Parks and Library, Councilman Maynard.
Thank you. Parks approved, 4 in favor, 1 against.
Councilman Crafton.
Thank you. I'd like to ask for an approval motion with an explanation. Thank you. Just so you'll understand the process that we've gone through, I'm a kind of a history buff, and I took the time to go over to the archives in Green Hills when I found out that they were going to move it, and I talked to them and met with representatives from Donna Nicely's office and asked them, what would you need? Where is a good place to go? What are some of the problems you have with this specific place? And number one, it wasn't big enough. Number two, the conditioning systems weren't preserving the documents and artifacts well enough. And so remembering that we were in the Ben West Library, the council, a lot of ADA repairs were done. It's already built to house books and heavy things because it was a library. And so to me, there's a reversionary clause also that if it's not used, it reverts back to the family, where I think we got 1 book and they're just as a placeholder. So that's kind of intellectually dishonest. Let's use it for what it was purposed for. It's a building that we own that's perfectly well suited for this. It's close to the other archives, the downtown library, the state museum. It's something that would be beneficial to those folks that use these facilities. And also, you know, I took a trip out to Franklin and looked at their archives. Little Franklin's archives is much better and much nicer than ours. This is the state capitol here. We've got artifacts that need to be displayed. There's a deed written out by Andrew Jackson in his own hand selling something. This needs to be scanned into the computer system. We've got approximately 10% of our artifacts that are scanned in or pictures taken so that people can look at them online. We need to do all of this. We need to have the best facility in the state because we are the state's capital. You're talking about a very small amount of money, and you're talking about something that can generate revenue because when people come to this city, they like to look at museums. So the top 2 floors would be great for a museum, and the other floor is great for all the artifacts and books and different things that we have. So I wish everybody would vote for this. I sent a letter to the mayor's office and to Donna Nicely. 25 or so of you signed that. This is just the next step, and I hope that they will make this step and go ahead and do this because I think it's really in the best interest for the city in the long run to preserve our history without it being destroyed because it's not in the right place and not being taken care of. So appreciate your support on this. I only wish Atkins could be here because I know that I'd get his support on something.
Councilman Stein, do you have a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. As you know, I'm something of a history buff myself, and I don't rise in opposition to this at all, but it is my hope, and actually Ben West would certainly be an improvement, even though I do think it's rather limiting, and I do hope that the folks at the library do take a comprehensive look at a variety of sites that may be centrally located, because I think anyone would admit that the amount of parking at Ben West is not very good, and it's actually shrinking around there. So I think the key element is that we move to a central location so that everyone can use it equally. But I would hope that in looking at it, that down the road we consider a variety of sites, because the key is central location with good space and good parking so that everyone can use it. And the Ben West building may not be the only place in downtown that would serve those purposes.
Councilman Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And ironically, this is not Coleman versus Eric Crafton night at all. However, I have some concern because, and I wish Mr. Rubin was here, because there were some plans being worked up wherein the archives would go into a building that we may lease or purchase in the Hickory Hollow area. And I've been waiting on Mr. Rubin to get back with not only me, but all the council members in the Antioch area to discuss that. And I would be saddened to know that we would take steps without a complete study. I, too, have talked with Ms. Nicely concerning the archives, and she thought the Hickory Hollow area would be a sufficient place. So I don't take anything away from the analysis and the research that Councilman Crafton and the many supporters who've said that the archives should be moved from Green Hills to the Ben West building. I think that might be a good idea. I also agree with Councilman Stein that we have to be careful with the parking. But what really concerned me is that we start taking councilmanic steps, and we really hadn't heard from the administration in terms of what their plans are. I know we've all read that the plans for Hickory Hollow are off the table, but those were news reports. I'm waiting to hear from the administration, because their promise to us was that they were coming to the Hickory Hollow area with a library and a community center. And right now, we still feel that that should be the case. So when you talk about the archives not coming to Hickory Hollow and the proposed library, that gives me some concern. I will not vote in opposition, although I didn't get a chance to sign the letter. I will vote in favor of, but with the understanding that I'm waiting on the administration to complete its thought in terms of where the archives should be properly fitted. Thank you.
Council Lady Wilhort.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say that I attended the meeting in reference to where this legislation was actually entertained at the committee. And there were some questions that was in reference to the fact of parking. And Mrs. Nicely had confirmed with us that, in fact, that the parking or this type of archive library does not, in fact, bring about a lot of car traffic or the need for parking. So that was one of the things, because that was one of the concerns that was raised. So we wanted to just let you know that she did kind of confirm confirmed that there was not a need for a tremendous amount of parking, that the parking was sufficient in the area. But I do want to say that I do stand in support of saying that looking at the possibility of it being at Midwest, that is a piece of property that we already own. It is in close proximity of other buildings and other type of archives and libraries that people who do research on history would like to be able to be in close proximity to. So I think it's a great location. However, if there are other locations that the administration does come up with, I could be for that as well. So I just wanted to say that all the while we're remaining open, let's also remember that we have to start somewhere, and the Midwest building is not a bad start. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Lady Lancaster.
Just a quick note, I would like to thank our Director of Libraries, Mrs. Donna Nicely. She has stayed to the very end. It's 10 after 8, and we appreciate you being visible when you have legislation and when you don't. Thank you.
Councilman Cole. Where you go?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to tell Councilman Crafton he may not have Councilman Atkins, but he's got me tonight on this legislation. Seriously, wherever this treasure ends up, I do hope as a city we will look at the resources and the types of conditioning equipment and the types of important attention we need to pay to this resource going forward. So wherever it is, this is a good discussion tonight, and I hope we will really take care of this treasure for our city. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. We got a motion?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Bill 1583 is adopted. There are 2 late resolutions. Hold up, folks. We got 2 late resolutions which will require suspension of rules. Are there any objections of the suspension of rules?
Just wait.
A resolution extending condolences on behalf of the citizens of Metro Nashville and Davidson County to the Japanese people and the government of Japan on the occasion of this great tragedy. Councilman Foster, is that you?
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee report, please.
Rules and confirmation. Burt.
Thank you,
Councilman.
President Pro Tem. Rules and confirmation, vote to approve 7-4-0 against.
Move approval with a brief explanation, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Normally, we pass these resolutions and move right on, but this is a resolution that I'm sure at some point will be delivered privately when the crisis is passed. And because it's on behalf of all Nashvillians, I wanted to take just a moment and quickly read it to you. It's very short. Whereas a magnitude 9.0 earthquake occurred at approximately 2:46 p.m. Japan Standard Time on Friday, March 11, 2011, with the epicenter located off the east coast of Honshu, Japan, in the Sanriku region of Miyagi Prefecture. And whereas this was the largest scale earthquake to occur in recorded Japanese history, and whereas this occurrence of a severe, sudden, and extraordinary event has caused damage, great loss of life and property, thereby endangering the health, safety, welfare, and living conditions of a substantial number of people as the result of the earthquake and the tremendous tsunami waves that followed. And whereas the people of metropolitan Nashville and Davidson County and the state of Tennessee have great bonds of affection for Japan and the Japanese people, and whereas the location of the Consulate General of Japan in Nashville makes Japan the only foreign country with a representative office in the state of Tennessee, and whereas the hearts of all Nashvillians have been touched by the scenes of devastation throughout Japan, as reported by the media, and are filled with deep sadness at the suffering of the Japanese people. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, Section 1, the Metropolitan Council hereby extends its heartfelt condolences on behalf of the citizens of Metropolitan Nashville and Davidson County to the Japanese people and the government of Japan on the occasion of the great tragedy with which they've been stricken. Section 2, the Metropolitan Council calls upon all Nashvillians to make charitable donations as they are able for the relief of those affected by the disaster in Japan. In Section 3, the Metropolitan Council office is hereby directed to prepare a copy of this resolution to be presented to His Excellency Hiroshi Sato, Consul General of Japan in Nashville. And I would renew my motion for approval.
Did you have a comment?
Just thank everyone for your thoughts and prayers.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. And all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The first resolution one has passed. Okay, the second resolution is a resolution recognizing Keep American Beautiful's Great American Cleanup and the Destigmatization March, April, and May 11 as Great American Cleanup Months in Metro and Davidson County. Council Lady Wilhart.
Committee reports, please.
Councilman Birch.
Rules and confirmation, vote to approve, 7-4-0 against.
Council Lady Wilhart.
I move for approval with a very brief explanation.
No explanation.
No. Okay.
No explanation.
I just want to say, council members, of course, we're in the midst of the Great American Cleanup, begins in March, ends in May. This is an opportunity for you to get with your neighbors and to establish neighborhood cleanups on Saturdays or any day of the week that you so choose. Please, please, please use your beautification commissioner. They are outstanding resources in order to have these beautification cleanups. And I think that the Public Works Department does an excellent job, along with Veronica Frazier and Lawrence Jackson and all those staff, to help provide those type of low-hanging fruits that we can give to our constituents in our district. And so I ask for your approval. Thank you.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution, the moralizing resolution passes. Are there any more business before this council? So moved.